Nair is a gold medalist in commerce graduate from Calicut University, class of 1997. Savitha holds MBA, MPhil, and PhD in management. With over 19 years of experience, she has keen interest in entrepreneurship, creativity, and innovation, marketing, and consumer behavior research. Her doctoral research was on innovation adoption, performance linkages through the SMEs operating in Nitwe cluster of Tirupur district. An entrepreneur certified by National Entrepreneurship Network, NEN. She was the founder faculty of a campus company promoted by students during her previous academic tenure. Currently, she is in charge of the Entrepreneurship Development Cell and mentors the student entrepreneurs on campus, including overseeing the campus company. A passionate teacher and an avid researcher, Savitha has presented and published her research works in several national and international conferences and journals, and has won awards. A recognized guide under Bharatiya University, she is presently guiding 4 PhD research scholars. Savitha has successfully organized national and international conferences and training programs with grants from AICTE and ICSSR. She has taught a course on strategic management as part of the global summer program organized by CETES University, Mexico during July 2019. Savitha jointly organized and handled sessions for 7 online programs on social entrepreneurship to the international students and faculty of partner institutions. She has recently joined the global jury of Vadwani Foundation as a mentor and startup advisor to guide student entrepreneurs and startups. We welcome you, Savitha. Dear participants, welcome to the afternoon session. And you have a qualified and expert person for handling this session. Make the most use of it. And welcome, Savitha, and welcome, participants. Happy learning to you all. Yeah, Savitha, over to you.
Dr. Vandana, you can stop sharing the screen.
Yeah, I have.
Fine. And Savitha, I think you can share the screen, right?
Savitha, I think is experienced a little technical
issues. Where she's sitting in multimedia hall.
Yes.
Okay.
50 participants have joined, I guess.
Okay, you just tell them 2 minutes.
Dr. Savitha Nair will join in a few minutes. Some small technical issues are there. She'll sort it out and she'll be with you in a short while. Thank you for your patience.
Good afternoon, dear participants. Thank you, Vandana and Kavita, for inviting me. Sorry for the small delay. There was a small technical net connectivity issue that I had faced, due to which I had to quickly make some arrangements. Thank you for inviting me, and the participants, so happy to handle this session for you. I could see around 63 of you have joined with me now, and I'm hoping that few more will be joining very soon. So this session is all about creativity and problem solving. I've been handling creativity for my MBA students for the past few years. So over a period of time, so much of preparation has gone into understanding what creativity is all about, how to use creativity in solving problems, coming up with newer ideas. So much of reading has happened. So I think I'll be able to give some insights based upon that. Also, the experiences I had with the students while handling this as a course for them has also helped me to fine tune my learning so far on creativity. So with that small note, let me share my screen. Hope I'm audible to all of you.
Yes, sir. Perfect.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. So when Vandana told me that this is a topic that we want you to handle, I was quite happy and excited for the reason that this is something very, very close to my heart. I love handling sessions on creativity and also do a lot of stuffs associated with creativity. So hope you will also enjoy this session. This is how I've structured my entire presentation. First, we'll try to understand what creativity is, why it is required, what it takes to make to become creative, what it takes to be creative, what are the qualities of creative personalities. Okay, we'll try to figure that out. There are certain 8 famous blocks that prevent somebody from being creative. What are those blocks and how we can avoid those blocks? How we can enhance creativity at a personal level? There is a process. If you look at creative problem solving as a process, there are some steps attached to it. So what are those steps involved in creative problem solving? What are the major techniques of creative thinking and problem solving? Here we'll be looking at the difference between divergent and convergent thinking. And we'll try to uh, uh, um, understand what are the various techniques that you can use for engaging in divergent thinking. We'll see 2 cases of 3M and Google, who are the organizations that are considered to be highly creative, encouraging a culture of creativity and innovation. So we'll quickly see their examples. And towards the end, I will share a link at which you can test your creativity. So this is how I've structured my presentation. There will be a few theory in the beginning, but as we move on to the techniques, we will have some interesting exercises. Why theory is because we need to bring everybody onto the same page. All of us are from different domains. So let us have a broader understanding of what creativity and creative problem solving is. And from there, we will move on to the techniques. Is that fine with all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. Okay. So here I am showing to you a few quotes by various people regarding what creativity is. Sorry. So you can see Hugh Howey say that creativity is seeing something that doesn't exist and then making it so. Or Shane Snow says it is going to unexpected places. There are different perspectives. People have defined creativity in their own way, from their own perspectives. Seth Godin says that one major block, which is actually the starting point for creative thinking, is this might not work. Palm Slim says creativity is expressing your ideas in a full contact, full color way. And there are so many people out there who have defined creativity in their own ways. So by looking at all those definitions and perspectives, let us try to understand what creativity is. Creativity is the use of imagination and original ideas for creating something new. You're using your thinking, your imaginative skills, and you're coming up with fresh ideas which are original in nature, which are not taken from others, which are not existing previously. And you use these ideas in imagination to create something or to solve a problem or to solve a puzzle or to communicate with somebody, or even for entertainment, you do this, right? So you're generating ideas, you're looking at newer possibilities which are original in nature, and you use them for either solving problems or creating something or communicating with others. You're looking at the world in a new way, you're perceiving the world in a new way, and you're trying to come up with your insights on understanding the hidden patterns. You're trying to connect between things which are not connected, which are seemingly unconnected. And you try to find connections, you connect the dots. So when you engage in creativity, there are two processes broadly in creativity. You think first, and out of that thinking, what emerges as a possibility, you start working on it. And later on, that becomes your innovation. So thinking and producing can be considered to be the two stages or two processes in creativity. Creative problem solving, yes, when you apply creativity in solving problems by looking at ideas which are unconventional or which we are not using in conventional thinking, that you can call as creative problem solving. So you're coming up with fresher ideas, fresher perspectives, and you try to reach a goal, which is solving a problem. So in that context, we use the term creative problem solving. In this context, let us try to understand a famous test which was conducted by George Land and his colleague Beth German in 1968. What they did was they wanted to know whether creativity enhances or declines as we progress in our age. So they did a research to test the creativity of 1,600 children whose age was between 3 to 5 year old, and they were enrolled in some Head Start program. Both of them used the same creativity test, which they used for the NASA engineers to select the best engineers and scientists for NASA. The same test was used. What was the test? The test was just to look at a problem and come up with a new, different, or innovative idea to solve that problem. Very simple test. And what George Land and Beth German did was they did this test on these 3 to 5 year olds first, and then they waited until these children turned 10. And they conducted the same test when these children turned 10. And again, they waited for 5 more years, and they did the same test when they turned 15. So it was a longitudinal study at the age of 3 to 5, at the age of 10, at the age of 15. The same test was conducted on the same set of students. Any guess what could be the result? What would have been the result? So this is the result. And this is an eye-opening result. If you look at the creativity scores at the age of 5, you can see that it is at 98%. At the age of 10, you can see it has declined to 30%. At the age of 15, it declined to 12%. And the same test was conducted on about 280,000 adults at an average age of 31. And for them, when the summary of scores was found, their creativity score was just 2%. What do we make out of this? Any comments?
It signifies, ma'am, like we have a inborn creativity, like we have a openness when we take birth and in our early childhood, and later with the time we tend to get crafted with the time. Like we are being taught certain ways we have to follow. We are not having that imagination with us in due course of time. We used to miss.
Right. You're exactly correct. So as we progress in our age, though we are curious when we are born, when we are creative, naturally, as we progress in our age, we tend to lose our creative thinking and inquisitive mindset. Okay, we tend to accept things that are normal. We start thinking logically rather than creatively. And that is the result that he found out. What are the benefits of creativity? If you engage in creative thinking, what benefits you will get? This is a collection of benefits given by Ken Robinson, who's considered to be one of the best speaker on creative thinking. So he says that creativity will help you reduce your stress and anxiety. It will help you to express yourself better. It will promote your thinking, especially the out-of-the-box thinking. It will help you have that happy zone within your mind and have a lot of fun. It will give you a lot of purpose and sense. You can link with others having the same passion. It helps you in risk-taking, iteration, innovation, and so many benefits that he has presented. So from that, I'm arriving at the top benefits or why we require creativity. Creativity helps in proper decision-making, probably. We will see that. We'll be doing a few exercises towards the end, and there we'll come to know this. It helps you to decide better, solve the problems in a better manner, engage in innovation. You'll be able to look at things differently. When everybody sees things in one perspective, you will be able to look at things from another perspective. You can deal with uncertainty better. You can express yourself better. You can engage in out-of-the-box thinking. At the end of the day, it provides you with a lot of satisfaction, fulfillment if you're engaging in creative thinking. And it boosts your self-confidence. So there was a survey that was conducted by IBM on more than 1,500 CEOs of the world, asking them what are the top qualities required for future business success, or for the best requirements for the success of businesses. All of them, or most of them, said that creativity is the first or the most important thing for future business success. And this was rated as number one, above management discipline, integrity, and even vision, which means that this is considered to be one of the most prominent requirement for business successes. Now, what it takes to be creative? How can you be creative? How can you practice creativity? One way of being creative is being imaginative. Over a period of time, we are so mechanical in our life. We have a lot of responsibilities around us. What happens is we kind of have less imagination, time for imagination, as well as less interest towards imagination. But only if you are imaginative, you can be creative. Thinking out of the box, and I think we have an exercise coming up which will help us first determine what is that box we are talking about and how can we move out of that box. Having insights and intuition, being more open, taking risk, high tolerance for ambiguity, and also there are a lot of myths that we have in our mind, mental blocks that we have in our mind that, we can't be doing creative thinking. So we need to remove those blocks. So these are some of the ways in which you need to be thinking about, becoming creative. If you look at some of the top creative persons of the world, these are some of the qualities that you find prominently present in them. Most of them are open-minded. They are flexible and they are open to new thoughts. They are ready to take risk. They are curious. They never stop with what they have. They curiously keep learning, even from anybody. From anybody, they keep learning. They are knowledgeable, flexible. They collaborate with others. It is not that I have something, I know something, I will not share it with somebody. They are ready to share with others as well as seek help from others. They communicate their ideas and thoughts, and they are never deterred by failures. And here at this moment, let me give you a small quiz just to ensure that all are with me. And I'm sure all of you know these personalities. Who are these people? Quickly.
The first one is Walt Disney,
Walt Disney.
and second one is Albert Einstein,
Yeah.
and third one I don't know.
Okay. Anybody would like to try? Anybody else?
Walmart.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else? Okay. So the first one, as you rightly said, is Walt Disney. He built an entertainment empire by turning his dreams and goals into reality. Look at his statement. It's kind of fun to do the impossible. And he's exactly talking about being very creative. I have some chats here. Third is Edison. Correct. Yes, Mr. Sachin, you are right. Albert Einstein, he always challenged the notions, isn't it? And look at his statement, logic will get you from A to B, but imagination will take you everywhere. Talks about imagination. And who's the next person? As you rightly said, Thomas Alva Edison, who came up with over 1,000 inventions for which he got patent. And he has a very famous statement, I have not failed, I have just found 10,000 ways that won't work. These are all classical examples of creative personalities. And if you look at their statements, it's very clear that these people were very strong and they were professing the need to be creative if you need to make a mark in the life. These are some insightful stories. If you handle such courses for students, their stories can always be showcased to students to tell the importance of creativity in achievement. What are the top blocks that can prevent you from becoming creative? The first block and the most prominent block is believing that you are not creative. All of us, or many of us, think that we are not at all creative. In fact, when this creativity course came to me first, I used to think that, am I the right person to handle this course? Am I that creative? But when you start exploring, you understand that, yes, all of us are creative. So that belief is something which you need to take away from your mind, believing that you're not creative. Making assumptions before trying that this may not work. Even before trying, we make assumptions. Some of us follow the rules so strictly, we do not want to deviate. We are not flexible. In that case, we can't be creative. Being too serious to things, approaching things in a very serious manner will not make us creative. Avoiding risk or being wrong is bad. You think that if you go wrong, people will think that you are bad. So you try avoiding, taking such risk. Always staying with the habits, thinking that there is only one solution, or making judgments too quickly. These are the top blocks that prevent somebody from thinking creatively. So if we have such blocks in our mind, it's very important that to develop your creativity and creative thinking skills, we need to take away these blocks from our mind. Now let us look at some of the personal strategies that we can adopt in order to enhance our creativity. The first and foremost is engaging in imagination. When we were children, we used to imagine a lot, right? And when we were in our teenage years, we used to have a lot of imagination. But when we grow older, what happens is we stop doing all those stuffs. Imagining is very important for being creative. Okay, becoming an imaginative, involving in imagination is very important. Being curious and inquisitive. When you see something, don't just accept it as it is. Be curious to ask a lot of questions. Have that mindset to inquire and get information. Developing perspectives and connections. Don't just look at things from the same perspective. Look at things from different perspectives and try to build connection between seemingly unrelated things. Developing empathy, that if you find a problem other person is facing, can we also be empathetic and look at the problem from their perspective and come up with ideas to solve that. So developing empathy, and this comes especially as a part of design thinking, we'll be discussing the need for becoming empathetic. Being very flexible, relaxing the assumptions. And here I've given you some technical terms. Let us try to understand that. Hard versus soft thinking. Most of us engage in hard thinking most of the times. What is hard thinking? You're talking about logical thinking here. You're looking at facts. You're looking at information. And you are thinking in a logical manner. That is hard thinking. Whereas what is soft thinking? You are looking at, emotions. You are not looking at the logic, rather than you are looking at abstract ideas. You are looking at different perspectives of solving something. So like that, you engage in soft thinking. So instead of engaging only in hard thinking, engage also in soft thinking. Convergent versus divergent thinking. Most of us engage in convergent thinking, that there is some goal to be achieved. We take one perspective and we try to approach that goal only from that perspective. Instead, can we also look at all the other possibilities, engaging in divergent thinking, thinking from all possible dimensions? And for creativity, divergent thinking is more important than convergent thinking. Individual versus group thinking. Instead of just thinking as an individual, engage in group thinking sessions that can enhance and get you more perspectives, get you more ideas. Engaging in design thinking, which involves empathizing with the person in problem and coming up with ideas to solve that. Deconstructing the problem and reconstructing it part by part, with coming up with solutions for each of those parts. Engaging in dialectic thinking, wherein you are looking at two opposing perspectives for a problem-solving scenario. So you take a most positive view and you take the most negative view, probably two opposing dimensions of the problem solving, and then you engage in thinking. Seeking help from others. All these are some of the ways of enhancing our creativity, and I advise and suggest that all of us should engage in such thinking patterns, practice it every day to make ourselves more creative. Any questions, any thoughts here?
Ma'am,
Yeah.
please explain dialectic thinking.
So dialectic thinking is all about taking two opposing perspectives. For example, sometimes we will say that I don't want to work today. I want to take an off today, versus I also need to complete a work today. I want to enjoy rain. At the same time, I want to stand under hot sun. At the same moment, at the same time, you are talking about two opposing views. So if there is a problem in front of you, you are looking at the problem at the most optimistic, from the most optimistic point of view, and might be from the most pessimistic point of view, so that you have different perspectives coming to the problem, and you come up with solutions from all these two dimensions. Right. So let us move on to the process of creativity. This is the most significant process many researchers have found to be the process that you can adopt for engaging in creativity. It starts with preparation, incubation, illumination, and verification. What is preparation? This is a phase at which you identify a puzzle or a problem or an opportunity in front of you, and you start preparing towards it. So you collect the necessary information, you talk to the people who are having that problem, or you look at the problem from, you observe about it, you do a survey, you collect a lot of facts and figures regarding the problem, you prepare yourself for the problem. And then what happens is everything you prepare and it starts getting into your subconscious mind, and might be you will forget about this problem for some time. So what happens is this entire information gets incubated in your mind. Okay, it start getting into your subconscious mind. Might be you are not fully working on that problem. You have taken up some other assignment, or you're doing something else. But this actually gets into your mind, into your subconscious mind, and things started getting processed in your subconscious mind. So that is called as the incubation phase. And then what happens is the subconscious mind comes up with a solution based upon the information gathered and that has come to your mind, as well as the patterns that get changed in the environment. And you get an aha moment, right? That some idea strikes you. There is a eureka moment that comes to you. That is known as the illumination stage. So that is the point where you come up with a fresh idea based upon the thinking that has taken place in the subconscious mind. And once the idea you think and you're convinced that this idea is great, you get into the verification phase. Now, what do you do here? You talk about this idea to other people. You try and test this idea to see whether it will work or not. And if it is working, then you will kind of implement that idea. So this is a natural process, knowingly or unknowingly. We go through this process when we engage in creative thinking, right? But there are also so much of research that took place, and people have come up with different models of creative problem solving process. So if you look at the second model, it is known as a structured problem solving model. Here, there are some 7 stages that somebody can go through if they need to engage in creative problem solving. So you start with an awareness phase. You understand the problem clearly, you get an awareness of that. Then you collect information regarding that problem. So you go through a fact finding phase, then problem finding phase, the idea finding, the solution finding, acceptance finding, and later on implementing that. So the same stages model that we just said, elaborate version of that is a structured problem solving model. The most important model that I would recommend is engaging in convergent and divergent thinking. It's not just convergent or divergent thinking. It has to be a combination of these two. So how does this work? This is how it will work. What is divergent thinking? In divergent thinking, you are generating new possibilities by using your imagination or using brainstorming techniques. You are coming up with so many possibilities, so many ideas. You go out of the realm and come up with so many choices. So creating choices is divergent thinking. And once the list of choices are created, then you engage in convergent thinking to make the choice. So you filter and find out, the best ideas or the feasible ideas and make a final choice. So when you engage in creative thinking, it has to be a combination of diverging, converging, diverging, converging, diverging, converging until you reach the final solution. This could be considered as one best method for engaging in creative thinking. And if you look at design thinking methodology, it is based upon divergent, convergent thinking philosophy. And a lot of such tools, if you look at divergent plus convergent thinking, is what takes you through a lot of possibilities and then helps you boil down to one of those possibilities. Okay, let us try to understand it a little more clearly. So if you look at this diagram, what you see at the top is divergent thinking. You're broadening your thoughts. So you ask a lot of open-ended questions. You do a lot of brainstorming. You do a lot of thinking outside the box, come up with a lot of possibilities, get a lot of ideas. So the focus is on quantity of ideas, not the quality of ideas. Focus is on the variety of ideas, the freshness of the ideas, and later on, when we are closer to convergent thinking, the specificity of the ideas. And then we get into convergent thinking, where you apply a lot of filters to kind of filter these ideas to finally arrive at the best idea. So probably at the first stage, you will look at the constraints and see which of those ideas will fit into the constraints that we have. For example, finance could be a constraint, time could be a constraint, availability of people could be a constraint, right? So look at all these constraints. Arif Sharma, please mute your microphone. Right. So you look at the constraints, and from there, probably you filter. Might be you had 100 ideas, you filter, and now the ideas are just 80. And then you look at the pros and cons, might be at the next level. The usefulness, relevance, assumption, sustainability, the pros and cons of the ideas from these dimensions are checked, and then you filter the ideas. And then the next stage, you evaluate the ideas based upon certain parameters, like what is most suitable for our context, according to rationale, which is most suitable, for which action plans can be created. You evaluate, and finally you come up with the idea, and that becomes your solution, right? So this is how you engage in divergent plus convergent thinking. Hope it is clear to all of you. So to ensure that all of you are with me, nobody's sleeping, I have a small exercise for you. This is a small warming up activity. You need to look at the chart and say the color, not the word. Who would like to try? Just tell the color, not the word.
Me.
Yeah, Richa, go ahead.
Green, red, blue, yellow, blue, black.
Purple,
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
red,
And red, then blue, green, black, red, yellow,
All are
green,
purple,
All our colors not matching to their name.
Okay, so don't read the words, just identify the colors and tell. That was the puzzle for you. That was the challenge for you. Who else would like to try? Good try. Who else would like to try?
Yellow, red,
No, no, no. No, it's not yellow. It's green actually.
Green, red, blue,
I'm
yellow,
going down.
blue,
um,
black, red, blue, green,
From the I have to read.
black, red, yellow, green,
Look at the chart and say
blue, black, blue, red, green.
Okay, very good. Wonderful. Anybody else would like to try?
I like to try
Red, blue,
yellow, black, purple, orange, blue, green, blue, red, yellow, green,
Yellow,
red, blue,
red,
orange, green, red, black, purple, orange.
blue, green, black, red,
yellow, black.
Okay, fine. So whenever you find like, it's boring and you are kind of tired, do this exercise, and you can also run this exercise in your creativity classes for students. It will be very fun, no? Because most of us associate ourselves with the words, and when the color and the words are given, we may get confused. I know you've done this exercise in the morning. This is the first step in creative thinking called thinking out of the box, the 9-dot challenge. Did all of you do this in the morning?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So how many of you got it right?
Now we know the right.
Now we know that. But what happened to all of us? That is something we need to actually think about. There are 9 dots. When this dot was given, there was no condition that you should draw within these framework of this 9 dots, isn't it? But all of us thought that this is the framework within which we need to confine our drawing. So we all tried drawing this 4-line segments within that confine that you saw there. An artificial thought or in an artificial framework came to our mind. And this is known as the box. You always say that out of the box thinking is required. But where is the box actually? We have to go out of the box. But where is the box? This is the box, the imaginary framework, the imaginary box that we have in our mind. Okay, when something comes in front of us, because we think that it should not go beyond it. It can go. There was no such condition like that, isn't it? That is one important and the most important lesson in creative thinking, that you need to think out of the box. And for that, this exercise can actually help you to get that understanding of what that box is all about and how we can go beyond that. Another method of engaging in creative thinking is engaging in brainstorming. So brainstorming, as I'm sure all of you will be practicing that, mostly for team discussions, we use brainstorming as a method. So there is a problem in front of you, or there is an opportunity in front of you. As a team, you will sit and you come up with a lot of ideas in order to take use of that opportunity or solve that problem, right? This is a part of your design thinking approach also. In the ideation process of design thinking, or whatever is the scenario that we have in the ideation phase, we use brainstorm. Now, there are certain rules that you need to follow when you engage in brainstorming. One is that there has to be a time limit. Okay, so if we say that 30 minutes or 1 hour, within that time, so much of ideas need to flow in. You have to start with the problem, and somebody in the team should brief the problem to the entire team or people who are there to engage in brainstorming. You need to refrain from criticism. So somebody would have suggested a very silly idea. Let us not judge that then and there. We'll make a note of all the ideas that people suggest in the team. That is known as brainstorming, right? So you should refrain from judgment and criticism throughout the brainstorming session. Encourage all kinds of weird ideas. Look at the quantity of the ideas, not the quality of the ideas. Try to build on others' ideas. So if somebody suggests something, I may have something to improvise upon that, encourage that. Stay visual, whatever you come up as ideas, put it on sticky notes, put it up on the board somewhere so that everybody sees that. Allow only one conversation at a time. So all these are some of the rules. Engage in brainstorming. There is also another version of this, which is known as reverse brainstorming. In reverse brainstorming, what you do is we start with the opposite of the problem that you're trying to solve. For example, there is a folding chair and you want the folding chair to be always open. Now for brainstorming, you start with a scenario where you want your folding chair to be always closed. The actual problem that you want to solve and the brainstorming theme is totally opposite. So when you say that you need to have an idea to always close your folding chair, now everybody start thinking about ideas. So some will say that some levers should be there, some attachments should be there to always close it. So many ideas will come in, and out of that you pick up an idea and reverse it, which will be the right way of keeping a folding chair always open. So this is known as reverse brainstorming. In certain scenarios, it is required. There is also something known as brain writing. What you do here is you engage in brainstorming, but you don't utter a word. You will have a piece of paper. Imagine there are 10 people sitting and doing brainstorming. Each one of you will have a piece of paper. There is a common theme on which you need to brainstorm. So each one will be asked to write 10 ideas that comes to their mind to solve that particular problem. Now I write my ideas. What I do is I'll wait for others to finish. When everybody in the team finishes, this idea paper that I have, I'll pass on to the next person and the previous person's paper comes to me. Like that. Now what I get another person's paper, I will add to the ideas that is already written there. Similarly, my paper is with somebody else, that person will add ideas. Like this paper will move on in the entire group and finally it comes back to me. And when it comes back to me, you can imagine how much of ideas I would have now got. And similarly, everybody in the team would have got. And then you collect all these ideas and from there you do the convergent thinking. So you engage in divergent thinking without uttering a word. You are engaged in brainstorming, but this is brain writing rather than speaking it out, right? So that is another format of engaging in brainstorming. A small exercise for you. This is also one way of engaging in divergent thinking. Thinking all possibilities. The possibilities could be weird possibilities. It may look funny, it may look impossible, but we think about it. So this is the exercise. Can you come up with 100 imaginary uses for this unused pizza boxes? Quickly, either in the chat.
Ma'am, one could be, of course, something for a wall art or something.
Wall art, very good.
We can make it like a small table out of that, piling it up together.
Yes.
Like a stand or something you can use.
Yes, definitely.
For packing also.
And box, okay, yes. Storage, canvas, gift pack,
decorative box.
You can also stick a picture on, means compiling it together so that you can cut it and use it for the puzzle or something.
Yes, very good. Dustbin, photo frame, binding book, wall art. Very
pencil box, colors.
Pencil box. Dollhouse, craft work, photo frame.
Hello, sir.
File folder. Any further ideas? Come on quickly. Pen stand, craft work, paper folder. Very interesting. For pizza, definitely. Definitely. Packing for AC window, packing books, toy box, study table. I'm getting wonderful ideas. Imagine you run this exercise in class, how fun-filled the class will be. Storage for papers, using as small boxes. storage purposes. So many possibilities. And when you do this exercise in class for CD collection, for demo purposes, when you run this exercise in class, you divide the students into team and ask them to do this exercise, come up with 100 ideas in 10 minutes. And you will see that the entire class will be bubbling with energy. And there will be huge competition between teams. Now, my team has touched 50, they are 45. Let us make it faster like that. Use it as photo frames. And you will get so many interesting ideas. Now, just imagine we have not done this exercise and you see a pizza box. Will you look at pizza box and look at all these, think about all these dimensions? We will not, right? Because we look at pizza box as just as a pizza box. We don't look at the imaginary uses of that: packaging, modeling, handwork, artwork, property with added items, pen stand, wall hanger, stationery box, repacking materials. Yeah, we think only about pizza then, right? We don't think about anything else. But when you engage in this kind of a thinking process, definitely so many possibilities. So many possibilities to do. Dr. Preeti, can you mute yourself? During rainy days, you can cover it with your head. Yes, very interesting. You can cover it with your head. Cover this on your head. Any other weird possibilities you can think of? Put on the shelf, writing pad, as cover, waste bin. Might be you can also use it for gardening. Put some, soil on it and grow small plants, dustpan. Or you can use it as a bird, to have birds coming in. You can create a small nest for them. Spoons, you can put holes and insert. Yeah, chala box, recycling, you can use it for as a mirror stand. You can use very good as a chalk box.
That's the hand pen, the small hand pen.
Small hand pen, yeah. Small hand pen, grain box. So many possibilities are there. We've never thought like this before because we never are used to such kind of thinking process. But now I think hereafter, when we see anything in front of us, we can always use our imagination skills. What all other possibilities are there for, using this product? Okay, this is one approach which can help you. Can be used as a craft activity for kids. Excellent. So this is one activity which you can use for imagination. Okay, you have something standard. What are the possibilities of using the same thing in a different manner? Okay, so this is one exercise that can help you to improve your imagination. Another technique. So far we saw about the thinking out of the box. So we try to understand where the box is and how we need to go out of the box. And then we saw about brainstorming, reverse brainstorming, and brain writing. And then the 100 imaginary uses. Now I'll go to one of the most important techniques known as the scamper technique. So scamper technique was a technique which was introduced by Bob Ebril, and he said that by adopting a particular approach, we can actually use our creativity in solving problems, especially during the brainstorming meetings. So scamper is actually an acronym of 7 techniques. S stands for substitute, C for combine, A for adapt, M for modify, P for put to another use, E for eliminate, and R for reverse. Scamper. Now imagine you are working in a company, and now the company says that you already have a good product now, but there is huge competition in front of you, so we need to improvise upon our product. So what you can do is, as a team, you can, I will repeat this, scamper. So scamper is a technique which you can use for creative thinking, especially during your meetings, brainstorming meetings. You have something there in front of you already. Now you are looking at various possibilities of improvising that. So there is already a product. Imagine that you're working in a company. There is already a product that you're selling. Now you want to improvise that product. You look at improvisation by adopting these perspectives. The first is substitute. Can I substitute something which is there already and come up with a new component, new element? What can I substitute? Can I substitute people? Can I substitute material? Can I substitute some components? I mean, you look at the possibilities of substituting. Then you look at the possibilities of combining. Can any other feature be combined here? Can I take a feature from another product and combine it here? You look at all the possibilities of combining. Adapting to a new situation. So far, my product was working in this context, in this medium. Can I adapt it to a new medium, a new context? Can I modify certain parts, make it simplified, make it more simplified, or shall I minimize or maximize on certain things? Can I put the same product for another use? In that case, for what other use we can put it for? Just now, the 100 imaginary uses exercise that we did was something like that, putting the same one product for different uses. You're looking at the possibilities. Eliminate. Can we eliminate certain features which you think are not required for the product? Can we reverse certain features or reverse certain assumptions? Okay, this is known as a scamper technique. So let us try to get the details of this. We need to be asking the team, if it is a brainstorming exercise or you're doing it individually also, you need to be asking yourself or the team a lot of questions when you take each one of these perspectives. The first is substituting. What else instead of this? Or who else instead of this person? Or what other ingredients instead of these ingredients? Other materials, other time, other place. The best example I can give you is applying scamper technique while you're cooking. Okay, you are cooking a particular dish in the same old fashion, everybody will get bored, right? But at the same time, you have the same ingredients, but you adopt the scamper technique and cook. Then probably you come up with a new menu, a new dish, which never existed before. You used a scamper methodology to invent a new dish. Got it? So what ingredient can be changed, what substitution needs to be done, all that you will look at when you think about substituting. Combining, what all things can be blended. Why should we blend them? What kind of materials needs to be blended? Okay, how about a blending mechanism? For example, the example that you see here, a musical greeting card. A greeting card has a separate function, music has a separate function, but can you combine these two and come up with a newer combination, a musical greeting card? Now that becomes an innovative product. Adapt. What else is like this? What other ideas does this suggest? How can I adjust to these circumstances? So, there is a situation in which my product may not work. How can you make adaptation? So might be tires that are sturdy even in snow. Adapting. Modifying. Should I modify the shape? If so, what new shape should I give? The form or the order? Should I minimize something, make the miniature version or a slower version or a lighter version? Or magnify something, a longer or a thicker version, right? So modifying. Put to another use. Is there any new way of using this? Or are there other uses for which I can modify? Other places to use an item or movement, right? Eliminate. What needs to be removed or understated? Rearrange. Can we rearrange or reverse something? So this is a mind map showing how we use scamper technique. And this is used for ideation, idea generation. So we'll start with substitute. You look at all the possibilities of substituting people or components or processes or materials. You try to combine features or functions or processes or elements. You try to adapt from others. So it could be from another industry or other product or processes. You try to modify features or functions. You try putting the same product for another use and make adaptations accordingly. You try to eliminate things, processes or elements, or even try simplifying. And we try to reverse also if there is a possibility for that upside down, inside out, or back to front. So let me explain this with one example, which I usually give in class. We give them a common product, a pencil, and ask the students to redesign this pencil using a scamper technique. And this will be a very interesting exercise. So we give the students probably a chart, ask them to come up with some sketch pens and pencils and all that. And they have to come up with a new version of pencil adopting the scamper technique. So first the students will think through the substitute option, then combine option, adapt option, modify option, put to another use, eliminate reverse options. Can I get some ideas from the participants? What do you think are the possibilities adopting the scamper technique for improvising the normal pencil? Anybody would like to try?
Ma'am, sorry, I had an internet. I want to do what was the thing to do? I'm so sorry.
No problem. Your voice is little feeble. Can you repeat the question?
Ma'am, I got my net got disconnected in between. Can you just tell me how to do this? Means what is the question is?
Yeah. So you heard what scamper is?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. So scamper is a technique wherein you try to adopt different perspectives to improvise something which is already existing. And you use this technique for ideation purposes. So S stands for substitute, C for combine, A for adapting, M for modifying, P for putting for another use, E for elimination, and R for reversing assumptions or things. Now, using that technique, can you come up with, it's not a pen, sorry, it's a pencil, new version of a pencil. You already have a pencil. Now, applying the scamper technique, can you come up with a better version of a pencil? So what do you think can be substituted? What do you think can be combined? A new feature can be added? What kind of modifications are possible? What needs to be eliminated?
Okay. Modification possible. We can add a measurement so that we can also use it as a scale.
Very good. It's also combining a scale and a pencil combined.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice thought. Okay.
Then, modification. I think two colors. We should change the color of the some.
With eraser, we can add sharpener colors. As you rightly said, you can think of the possibility of having colors of both sides.
Like since the rubber is attached at the end, you can also add a lightener or something.
Very good.
In that structure.
Yes. Very good thought. Shanmugapriya has said insert refill by removing the graphite. Very good thought process. Anybody else can try? The lead can be replaced by an eco-friendly product. Very good. What else can be done? So when you run this exercise in class, you will get a lot of ideas from the students. They will say that we can have a camera attached, we can have a calculator attached. There can be so many possibilities they come up with, and it will be very interesting to listen to their presentation. So they are more creative. So I want you all to think about all possible, all possibilities. A digital watch can be built in. Very good. Put a small seed at the other end and it can be sown in the ground. Yes, Geetanjali, that's a great idea.
Even one side we can also make something like a pen drive where you can.
A pen drive, yes, can be attached. Yeah. Somebody was very lazy in the class, said that there has to be some automation done in the pencil, so it automatically writes. You need not write at all, and it automatically gets stored in the pen drive, and such possibilities. So let us not, when we do this exercise, let us not say that any idea is silly. There could be possibilities. Timer, very good. You can check how much time it is required to draw a diagram. You can have a timer. Yeah, any other thoughts? So you can do this exercise for yourself, or you can even run this for your students. And you can also run this as a competition for them, asking them a set of questions for substitution, combining, adaptation, all that. And you can see how innovatively they are thinking. The duration, you can try to check the duration, how many years I'm using the same pencil. There can be a method to find out the duration of that. So this is something I took from the Google. For the same pencil, how you can modify. So combining a pen with a pencil, or maximizing and minimizing. You have 3 sizes of pencils: XL, normal, XS sizes. You can use pencil for some other uses, like using it for hanging welcome boards, having sharpeners attached, mechanical clutch, lead, wood, eliminating that, and using some clutches and another material. Reversing the assumptions, as one of your participants was rightly mentioning, having seeds at the back, so that once the pencil is not usable, you kind of put it on the soil and it grows as a small plant. So many possibilities. So ask the students to sketch this if you do this as an exercise. Okay, ask the students to sketch whatever ideas that come to their mind, ask them to draw that. And we also can do this exercise to enhance our thinking process. Hope the scamper technique is clear to all of you.
Yes, ma'am.
Now we'll move on to mind mapping. Mind mapping is another way of engaging in creative thinking, and I'm sure all of us do this for ourselves as well as for our students. So mind mapping, what you do is you start with a central idea and you branch out with the sub ideas, and from there you again branch out and branch out and branch out. So during our exam preparation time, we use mind mapping technique in order to study all the relevant themes and topics for the course for which we are preparing. So here again in mind mapping we do that. Okay, so you are trying to collect as much of connections for the theme in question, and you visually create a map in front of you so that you find the logical connections between things. You see the big picture there, and you see what changes needs to be done or how the problem needs to be addressed and things like that. Okay. So here you use lines, symbols, words, colors, images, and there can be any form of creativity that you can apply to make your mind map looking like a very visually pleasing mind map. So this is the simple format of doing a mind map. So you have a central theme from where you come up with the ideas surrounding the theme, and then the sub ideas and the sub ideas, and you go on like that. So imagine I give you a scenario. Imagine that you want to lead a healthy lifestyle, right? Now you're concerned about your health and you want to lead a healthy lifestyle. So health is the starting point of your mind map. Now then you look at the various aspects of health, various components or various dimensions of health. And when you do this thinking or brainstorming, you may probably understand that health has a spiritual health, physical, mental, and emotional health. Right? Now you get 4 sub-themes emerging. Now for each of these themes, sub-themes, you come up with the next level of themes. So for example, spiritual health, what I need to do in order to enhance my spiritual health, for example, might be praying every day or meditating or listening to uplifting music or reading uplifting words can enhance somebody's spiritual health. Next, the physical health. Physical health, there are 2 components, might be exercise and nourishment. Now for exercise means what? There are so many possibilities. Nourishment means how you can do that. There are so many possibilities. Lifestyle. Yes, your lifestyle needs to be taken care of. The emotional health, what are the components that can help somebody to stay emotionally healthy? For mental health, what is required? Now, once you complete this mind mapping exercise, you get a complete picture of what you need to take care of to stay healthy or lead a healthy lifestyle. So here you see in spiritual health, these are the 4 or 5 things that can be done. Now you can decide out of which what I need to do, or can I do all this? For physical health, what kind of exercises I can do, what kind of nourishment I need to take care of. So for our personal life or for professional themes or problem solving situations, all these you can adopt this kind of a approach. This is mind mapping. Okay. I used to give an exercise to the students, like I used to ask them, how will you see yourself in 2030 or 2040? That will be the central theme. And I'll ask the students to do a mind map for that. So the students will do in their own creative manner. They'll think a lot, they'll discuss with their friends, they'll discuss with their parents, they'll discuss as a team, and might be for personal life, what is that they want to see themselves as at 2030. In their professional life, how do they want to be seen in 2030? They'll make a list of that, and then they make some action plans towards that, and they'll come up with beautiful mind mapping exercise. So if some of you would want to run such an activity for your students, you can actually do it. Okay, for goal setting, mind mapping is one technique that you can adopt. Another important technique for creative thinking is 6 thinking hats. And this, I vouch, is one of the most important techniques for creative thinking. This technique was brought out by Edward de Bono in 1985. He said that most of us have this problem of looking at a problem from only one dimension. If there is something in front of us, a goal has to be set, a puzzle has to be solved, or a problem has to be solved, you look at it only from one dimension. And that dimension that we choose, or that perspective that we choose, is based upon our instinct, natural instinct. For example, if you're naturally optimistic, you will look only at the positive sides of that particular scenario and come up with your suggestions. If you're naturally risk averse, then probably you look at only the downsides and you come up with a suggestion, right? But then what happens is there are so many other perspectives to the scenario, we fail to recognize that. So in order to avoid that, you can adopt 6 thinking hat methodology. As the name suggests, you will wear 6 different hats. And when you wear each of those hats, you will think only from that hat's perspective. That's the idea behind 6 thinking hats. Okay. So this method will help you to move outside your habitual thinking process and look at problems or scenarios from different perspectives. What are these hats? You have 6 hats here: a white hat, a yellow hat, a black hat, a red hat, a green hat, and a blue hat. A white hat is a hat for facts, information. What information, what details I need to know before I take the decision. That is the white hat. Okay, so when you wear the white hat, you should only ask for information, facts. Research needs to be done to collect as much of information as possible when you wear the white hat. Now, if this is being done as a team activity, each one of us can wear different hats, and each one of us will think only from that perspective. But if you are doing this as an individual activity, then probably you will for some time wear the white hat, and then you'll remove that hat, wear the red hat, like that. You use different hats and you think from those hats perspective when you wear those ones. A yellow hat symbolifies brightness and optimism. So you see only the positive aspects of the issue or the decision that you plan to adopt. Only the positive things you see. So if I adopt this method, these will be the best results I will get. The yellow hat always talks about positivity. The black hat is the devil's advocate, which means that it will say why this solution may not work. So if you are wearing a black hat, and if it is a team exercise, then the person wearing the black hat will say, when somebody comes up with a suggestion, why this suggestion may not work. That is what the black hat will think about. The red hat signifies feelings, intuitions, passion, emotions. So if you are wearing a red hat, you will say how you get, what kind of emotions are evoked when a particular solution is suggested or a particular solution gets implemented. Okay, like or what kind of other feelings like fears, likes or dislikes are associated with that particular scenario solution. A green hat focuses upon possibilities, creativity, new ideas, and the blue hat focuses upon managing things. So if it is a team activity, it is a blue hat that manages the entire discussion. So one who's wearing the blue hat imaginarily will manage the entire discussion. Okay, so sometimes what happens is the yellow hat may go overboard, or the green hat will insist and say that this particular idea will definitely work and will not allow others to disagree to that. It is up to the blue hat to kind of manage the discussion and come up with the final solution. Okay, so the starting point as well as the ending point is the blue hat.
Madam, you mean to say these hats are all our thinking process only in the mind?
Yes, yes. You need to wear that hat imaginarily.
Yeah, imaginarily you have to wear the hat. Okay.
Hat, and if you wear a particular hat, you think only from that perspective.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So instead of taking only one perspective, you are looking at multiple perspectives before you arrive at a solution. That's the purpose of this exercise. Okay. So some of the important questions that each of these hats ask is, for example, the white hat will ask, what facts do we know? What facts we need to collect? How do we get this information, and so on. The black hat will ask this question, what is the weakness associated with this particular situation? What are the difficulties? Why this idea will not work? I say that this idea will not work because of these reasons. That's what black hat will say. Green hat will always look at what new ideas are possible, new opportunities are possible. Red hat will say, what is my gut feeling if somebody say this idea? For example, the green hat says that for this particular problem, this is the best idea. The red hat will immediately say, this is my gut feeling. I fear this will not work, or I am sure that this will work. My heart says so. That's a red hat. The yellow hat will talk about the opportunities of this particular idea, whoever suggests that. And the blue hat will kind of manage things. What needs to be learned from this discussion? What next? What we need to do next? Those are the questions that they ask.
Will there be any situation that no hats we wear?
In most of the situation, we wear only one hat, which is our natural instinct. It could be a positive, yellow hat, or it could be a black hat, right?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, but in a brainstorming process, it is always good that we wear these different hats.
So brainstorming is green hat, then new ideas, new opportunities.
Yeah, in brainstorming, if there are 10 people or 6 people, each one of them can wear these imaginary
different
hats.
ideas.
Yeah. So the green will suggest imaginary new ideas, black will oppose that, red will talk about emotions, all that. So it will be a very interesting, and nobody will take you wrongly, because everybody knows that you are wearing a particular hat and you are asking questions only from the perspective of that hat. So people will not take your comments in a wrong sense, because it's a structured way of doing the brainstorming.
This is all the psychological process. Only we are giving symbolically these things to recognize the things.
Right.
Isn't it? Recognize the person from that perspective he's talking.
Right. You can do this exercise for your students. For example, you can give them a decision dilemma scenario, and then you can put them into teams, ask them to wear these different hats. If there are 6 in a team, probably each one will wear a hat, and let them do the discussion from those hats perspectives, and finally come up with the best solution as a team they finally arrive at. Okay. So, yeah, 1 minute. So again, a little more in depth, white hat is just like a white paper with a lot of information. It's a very neutral hat. It is not siding any other hat's perspective. Okay. A red hat, all about feelings and emotions. Black hat is all about judgment. Yellow hat is all about optimism. Green hat is all about new possibilities, and blue hat is the control and agenda setting and action plan and all that. What are the benefits? You will have a lot more perspectives coming in when you engage in the 6-hat thinking methodology. That you're not, imagine you're doing regular brainstorming. There is a possibility that one in the team is more authoritative or is talking a lot, and others will start following that path. Nobody questions that. So in order to avoid that, you have a questioning in place. And so the brainstorming session becomes more productive when you engage in 6-hat thinking technique. You consider all the issues and problems very systematically. Here, you use parallel thinking, which means that you are thinking from all possible dimensions. So many innovations come in place. And as I told you before, the egos are kept in check and nobody will fight with each other because we clearly know that each one is talking from their perspective. Okay, so from that hat's perspective, so it is okay. Nobody will take the oppositions and criticisms personally. That is one advantage of this method. Okay. So you can think of any scenario for that matter. For example, the exercise I used to give to the students is I used to tell them that, okay, imagine that you're an entrepreneur, you have started a very good play school. Okay, for an example, a play school in your region and it's doing really well, parents are appreciating. Now there is a competitor coming next door. It's a international play school with Montessori training. Next door has come. Now you are in a very, very tough situation. Use this technique of 6-hat thinking and come up with a solution to ensure that your students don't go to that place and you keep attracting more and more students for your play school. So it's a very tough situation. Students assume themselves in that scenario. Each one wear different hat. And it's an imaginary scenario, but they come up with different possibilities. And towards the end, they come up with very innovative ideas. And any such scenario you can give to the students and do that. Even in our official meetings, we can use this 6-hat thinking technique in order to come up with newer ways of solving the problem. Another method is forced relationships or forced connections. Seemingly unrelated product, we try to build connections. Okay. Some examples I have given you as pictures here. Your mobile phone used to be having a different purpose. Your watch had a different purpose. Today you have a smart watch which combines so many aspects of a mobile phone and a watch, right? Or the picture that you see the other side, an earphone and a watch, you are combining seemingly unrelated products and a new product comes to the market, or a Swiss Army knife for that matter. Some 32 functionalities it has, I think. I don't know whether it is 32 or more than that, but it has got so many functionalities in one small knife. How that happened? Because the people who worked on these ideas came up with so many combinations between things that were seemingly unrelated. That kind of a method is known as forced relationship. And when many companies engage in product improvisation, they do this approach of thinking using forced associations or relationship. Today, if you see your mobile phone, it does so many functions, isn't it? Which you think initially when mobile phone was introduced, it was only meant for speaking or messaging. Today, it plays music for you. It helps you to purchase things. It gives you entertainment and it does so many things for you. How this happened? Because of force-fitting relationship and seeing connections and newer possibilities. So I have a small exercise for you again. Here I've given you 5 different products which has no connection at all. A cloud, a bulb, a socks, a joystick, and a flower. These are seemingly unrelated product. Now, can you combine all these 5? You can add additional elements if you want, but these 5 elements should be there. Can you combine all these and come up with one product, one object? Think about it. 5 different products, no connection. Can you combine all this and come up with one object?
Ma'am, you mean to say coming out with a new product
A new object.
or objective, ma'am?
One object. You have to come up with one object which will have all these elements, all these objects included.
Ma'am,
Mm-hmm.
that joystick, imagine we keep it like a protection for an eye.
Mm-hmm.
That cloud can be kept on top of that.
Mm-hmm.
At my nose piece, I keep that bulb.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll connect it there, then that junction tray. Then that stocking I'll wear on top of that bulb. I'll put it on top of that.
Mm-hmm.
And that flower, I'll keep it at the tip of my that bulb. Yeah, so it will be like a funny hat or something.
Funny hat.
Yeah. With
Great.
like with
With
a
eye
goggle
mask.
and yeah.
Okay. A Google and an eye mask and a hat attached to it. Yes, very interesting. Anybody else would like to try? You can come up with silly ideas, no problem. The objective is to come up with such ideas.
Basically, all of them, I felt it is connected to a spring season, where I may feel a spring and a winter combined kind of a season, where the flowers are all there up, beautiful, and it's slightly cloudy now and then. And I want to keep myself warm, so I wear the socks. And I like to be under the heat or light, so the bulb. And during this time, I like to stay at home and play with my joystick.
Okay, so you've come up with an imaginary situation where, you know, all these things are there as a part of your, that imaginary state, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay. But okay, very good. But the question was, can you combine this to make one object? I know it will take a lot of time, but still you can try. 5 more minutes, you can try.
Together as one object.
Yes.
Okay, cloud, light lamp, sock, joystick.
We can use these objectives and as a clown.
As a clown. Okay. How is it? Can you explain?
We can wear socks in our hand and use the light bulb on a cycle, or we have to use these only, ma'am.
You can add elements, but everything put together should be one object.
And joystick can be used as a magic stick or flower on his clown, you can say.
Okay.
Cloud to represent something.
That's great. Yes, Dr. Preeti.
Yes, ma'am. I think that's a creativity. So we can have a joystick in a shape of a cloud, and then on that joystick, we will have the light as a bulb, and flower will be the design of that. Means we put for designing the joystick, we'll put a flower on that. Shape of the joystick is cloud, and as a socks, we can. Sock is left.
No problem. No problem. That's great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so I mean, so many possibilities are there. Might be it will take little more time, and if we do this as direct, probably we will come up with, and as a team activity, probably so many ideas could crop in. One of the team, when I ran this exercise in class, said that you can create a night lamp. So the joystick will act as a remote, and then when you just click on to that joystick, probably the light will the light, the bulb will light, and then there is a cloud and flower attached to it. It will start turning around and playing music. And at the bottom of the bulb, the socks is attached so that the bulb can be moved here and there, kind of a very imaginative way of the students, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So anything, I mean, so many possibilities are there. This is one exercise again you can give to the students. Take a totally unrelated product and ask them to come up with newer combinations. So you will get to know how they are using their creativity, and we can also do this exercise in order to improvise our creative skills. Yeah, thank you. Now we'll move on to the next one. Building connections. This is also known as building analogies. And here again, seemingly unrelated things, I've tried to build the
A
connection.
boy is like a rocking chair because they both move. Because boy will be keep on moving, keep on moving here and there. Rocking chair is like a car because they can be taken anywhere. Rocking chair.
Okay.
A car is like a set of keys because they both. Oh my God. A set of keys is like a boy because they both. A set of keys is like a boy. Because they try to open everything and see how the things are. Because generally kids, they want to try everything. That is what. Only thing is a car is like a set of keys. That is the one I could not get.
May I, sir? May I, sir? That is basically unlock the potential, or maybe find out the hidden treasures when you are opening with the key something new.
That's great. That's great. Anybody else would like to try? Any connections you can build?
Ma'am, rocking chair is like a car because they both show the movement. Boy is like a rocking chair because again they
move.
Yeah, they move. And car is like a set of keys because they both take us to some destination, something like that. A set of keys is like a boy because they both open to something. They both again move us to some solutions, thinking, and that.
Great, wonderful. Wonderful. Now see, each one is giving a new perspective. Anybody else would like to try?
Ma'am?
Yeah.
A boy is like a rocking chair because they both have so much of energy. A rocking chair is like a car because they both give you a feel good. And unable to see the down part.
No problem.
That is where everybody.
Okay. So, I mean, so many possibilities are there. Might be a boy is like a chair because both have arms and legs. A rocking chair is like a car because both move, as you said. Or car is like a set of keys because they open and close. And the keys are like boys because they make movements or noises. I don't know. So, I mean, so many possibilities. So get these possibilities from your students and you will see so many things coming up. And now you build connections. Okay, so this is another exercise to improve your, creative thinking. Yes. Next time, move on to the benefits of all these kinds of divergent thinking. It helps you to improve your creativity and, imagination. Association between seemingly unrelated things helps you in problem solving, etc. and so on. Next time, move on to design, which is very significant. And today it is a separate discipline by itself, one most important technique of creative thinking. So in the late 1960s, design thinking was used by designers primarily for their craft work or the design work. But by mid-1980s, they started getting used in the management discipline also, saying that if there are business challenges in front of you, why can't you think in a designerly fashion? So that's how the design thinking started, getting applied in the management discipline.
Yeah, very recently, I presented a research paper on design thinking, madam, from marketing perspective. And my suggestions are design thinking can be applied in academics, defense, many other areas to solve many problems. Design
True.
thinking approach is useful.
True, sir. For example, in the education field, if you want to make your subjects more
Syllabus,
interesting,
curriculum.
syllabus, curriculum, academic restructuring, you can use it.
Design thinking should be used.
Definitely used. Okay, so this is a methodology where you are looking at problems by taking a human-centered approach or a collaborative, optimistic, experimental approach. This is a process strictly about design thinking. You start with empathizing. So there is a problem in front of you. You look at the problem from that person's perspective, the people who are experiencing that problem. From their perspective, you look at the problem, you empathize, and then you define the problem very clearly after understanding the problem from the perspective, and you collect all the necessary information, define the problem.
Yes.
Then you do the divergent thinking, you ideate, you come up with all possibilities to solve the problem, and then you engage in convergent thinking to come up with the best solutions. You prototype, you test it. Okay, so this is overall the process of design thinking. And this design thinking process, as sir was rightly mentioning, we can adopt in any field for that matter. And this is the most important case study of design thinking. This is a case study of General Electric's MRI scanners. So Duff Dietz is the engineer who created the MRI scanners from GE. And he was very confident that his product is really very, very good, and it is super successful. The company was also appreciating him, and his product is there available in all the hospitals. During one of his visit to a hospital, he happened to see a child crying because a child was getting into the MRI scanner, and the child had a lot of anxiety. Child was afraid of getting into the MRI scanner, and that was a moment of truth for Duff Dietz. He realized that his design was not based upon any empathy. He just used his scientific principles and created a mission. And for a child, he never thought about a child as a patient getting into an MRI scanner. You know, as elders also, if we get into MRI scanner, it is a little stressful thing for us. But imagine for a child how stressful it would be. So he said that his design has definitely not taken the child's perspective, and so he needed to redesign it. So that's when he applied the design thinking methodology. He started talking to doctors, especially the pediatricians, the nurses, the parents of the children themselves. He went to schools, he met the teachers, he met the museum in charge, okay, the people who run the museum for children, the psychologists for children. So many people he and his team interviewed and found out what is that excite the children, what is that they're afraid of. All that he studied, and he redesigned his MRI scanner, and that's how it looks. You can see in the image. So you have a theme like a pirated ship, or you have a theme like a jungle book within the MRI scanner. Before the child gets into the scanning, the child is told that now you're getting into a pirated ship. There are pirates out there, don't move. They will find you out. And the child is so excited to get inside and hide without moving. Right, and the entire MRI scanning process became very smooth. Otherwise, the doctors need to give anesthesia to the children. It was adding to the, stress of the child as well as the parents, and it was a huge process. Now the child is very happy to go inside, and some of the children wanted to go back again. Okay, that was the result. You have a jungle book, and you see a lot of animals there painted, and you don't move, and you see tigers there and all that. So that's how he redesigned, and this is the classic case of design thinking from GE in practice. Okay, what was the result? The patient satisfaction score went up by 90%. The anxiety went off. Children need not be given anesthesia throughout the procedure. They were holding themselves still, and there was a lot of joy and play during the entire process. So this is the design thinking. Now, the earlier version of MRI scanner was purely from a scientific perspective. From there is a problem, you have a product for that. You didn't empathize with the people who are going to use that. Now here you are empathizing and you make corrections. That's design thinking. So when I run this exercise for the students, I give them a lot of exercises. One is like, can you design an app for a real world problem, a social problem? The students have to come up with an app, at least in drawing, what menu will be there, what problem, identify the problem from the people's perspective who are facing that problem, interview those people, study the problem in detail, and then come up with the menu and say that if I have this app, this problem gets solved like this is how it works, and finally this is going to be the outcome and impact that I'll be creating. So you can run this exercise also for students, or better exercises, in order to help them understand what is a design thinking process. Now, this is another classical example for you. Toothpaste tubes with screw caps. All of us use the toothpaste tubes, which has the screw caps. But one problem that is there with the screw cap is that sometimes when you open it, there is a possibility that the cap will fall down onto the sink. It becomes dirty, or you will be standing near the toilet and this could get into the toilet, or sometimes when you press the toothpaste out of the tube, it comes in larger quantities and you're not able to close it. If you close it, it smudges and becomes very unclean and dirty. So these are all the problems. Can you improvise the design? Ask the students to go through the entire process of empathizing with the people facing the problem. What problem do they face? Identify the problem in clear terms, define the problem, ideate, okay, come up with divergent thinking, possibilities, then come up with the final solution. So this is also another exercise for a product which actually has a problem. So some students say that you can come up with the flip open type of caps. There are certain toothpaste having that caps, right? Might be to solve the problem that we just said. And some students said that we can have toothpaste in the form of small balls, so that, you don't have this kind of, or you can have glass bottles, or I mean another kind of a format for, and they come up with a lot of designs for a toothpaste cap and things like that. Very interesting exercise which you can run for your students. Finally, 2 case studies. I told you these are the 2 big organizations across the world and the classical examples of companies which are encouraging creative thinking and innovation. 3M, the Minnesota mining and manufacturing company based out of United States, a 100-plus-year-old company, famous all over the world. They make the sandpapers. They also make the sandpapers and sticky notes and your detergents and the scrubs. They also make high precision equipments that goes into the rockets, right? They have 55,000 different products. And the beauty is all these products are the ideas of their employees. So what is that makes 3M a unique company is because they have a culture of creativity and innovation ingrained in their organization. Okay, so there are some guiding principles that make 3M very unique from rest of the competitors. For example, they allow the employees to go closer with the customers and understand the problems from customers' perspective in the product areas they want to operate. They also look at the possibilities of coming up newer versions or newer products in related categories by talking with the customers. Employees are given ideation time, like they can spend 15% of their work time on working on pet projects. So I have an idea, I'm an employee of 3M, I have an idea, I am allowed to spend 15% of my work time on that idea. If my idea, I think I'm convinced I can take it to the next level. And it's a very decentralized organization. There are no much hierarchies. So it immediately gets to the decision-making level and you become the project manager of the idea. You kind of test it, initially the beta testing with the employees. If it is successful, it is taken to the market. And if somebody fails, the failure is not criticized. People are allowed to fail. That is another advantage of this company that makes it one of the most creative companies. Even if you fail, the failure is accepted. Nobody says that you failed, so you are thrown out of the job. Not like that. There are exchange information sharing forums where people freely exchange their ideas. And when your ideas click and you become the project manager for that idea, whatever profit generates from that product, a portion of that comes for you as well, along with your salary. So many things are there in place. A culture is built so that people are made to think creatively and come up with newer innovations. There is a very interesting story of your sticky notes. So sticky notes or the post-it notes that you use, most of us use, is a product from 3M. And it is an accidental innovation. They had a failed product, a glue, which was not sticking properly. So one of the employees of the company. Can you mute yourself? Okay. So this glue was not sticking properly. It was a failed product, but then one of the employees used this glue for his Bible classes, for sticking hymns and taking it off, and he found that it easily comes off. So there is another purpose for which the product can be used, and that's how your sticky notes, one of the most sought after products of 3M, came to the market. Similarly, Google. Google is a company, as we all know, one of the most admired company of the world. Google also does a lot of practices in order to build a culture of creativity and innovation. So employees are allowed to ideate, employees are allowed to freely share their thoughts. And when certain thoughts are very good, ideas are very good, it is funded within, and they take it to the implementation phase. So there is a culture of openness, there is a culture of creativity and innovation. So in your organization also, if you can build a culture like this, definitely you will be able to build your organization as a very creative organization. The employees can freely discuss their ideas. Nobody is hesitant. Failure is not punished. That's very important for creative thinking. Okay. Finally, I have a small online exercise for you, which you can do. This is a set of 40 questions. Based upon your age and the field you work in and the years of experience you have, a set of questions get generated for you. And at the end of 40th question, you will get a composite score of how creative you are. Like, for example, for building connections, what is your level of creativity? What is the average creativity level for your age, and what is your personal score? Similarly, thinking out of the box, what is your score? Like that, this link can help you to understand your level of creativity, where you need to improve. I will share this in the chat window. Any questions, any thoughts? Okay, let me.
Madam, you mean to say that link will help us to go with more doodles and more building connections, like examples where we can do the exercise?
Yes, the link will give you a set of questions, and you need to answer those questions. Based upon the kind of responses you give, your creativity level is captured. Might be your 50%. Your creativity score is out of 150 or 60, like that. You will get a score for yourself based upon some 5-6 parameters.
Okay, so we can try.
You can try that. I will just share it in the.
Okay, thank you.
Just a minute.
How much time can we try? Once or twice? In the sense, what if we are trying to do next time better than the first one or something like that? Is that possible, or just once we should go?
One? I'm sorry, I didn't get you.
No, my doubt is, see, for the first time I did it, can I do it again, thinking something? I can do it several times, not just once, right?
Yeah. And that is up to you. No problem. Just a minute. I will share it in the chat window. Just try this link. It will help you to understand how creative you are. It is a well-researched survey instrument, so it will help you to understand yourself better. You can try it during your free time. So with that, my session almost comes to an end. Are there any questions, or you would like to ask something or add something to whatever I discussed? Basically, we tried to look at the most important techniques of creative thinking, such as starting with the out-of-the-box thinking, brainstorming, brainwriting, mind mapping, design thinking, force relationship, then 6-hat, Edward de Bono's 6-hat techniques. I mean, we at least studies 100 imaginary uses, some 10 plus techniques we discussed. Since the time was very less, I was rushing through some of these. If we had time, or if it were a physical session, probably we would have had a lot of fun doing these activities and exercises. And if we had more time, we would have done these exercises online as well. But because of the lack of time, we had to cut short on this. But I'll be anyway sharing my PPT so you can explore these further for your personal as well as for the official purposes. In your college for your students' improvement, definitely you can use these techniques, because I personally am using these as a part of my creativity course. And I find that students really appreciate the fact that once they understand that these possibilities are there, they start looking at things from all possible dimensions.
Savitha ma'am, I just want to thank you, because your session was very engaging, and especially in this pandemic time when we are transiting from the face-to-face interface to the virtual interface, to bring the engagement with the design thinking and igniting minds a thought to provocate to a new idea. I really liked, your session and the kind of inputs you have provided, where from a vague content we can collaborate to an outcome which we all search for. So thank you so much, ma'am. Such a wonderful session and a great learning. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kavita, for your kind words. And for all the chats I see here, thank you so much for your responses. Somebody was asking 6 thinking hat techniques they couldn't understand. You have 6 hats. You assume that you are wearing these 6 hats, and each hat gives you one perspective. So if you're wearing a white hat, you look at only facts. If you're wearing a blue hat, you manage the discussion. If you're wearing a black hat, you look at only the downside of the solutions. If you're wearing a green hat, you are looking at all the possibilities. And yellow hat, you're looking at all the positive sides of the ideas. And red hat, you're looking at the intuitions and gut feelings associated. Right? So you can do this as a brainstorming exercise. Each one can think that they are wearing different hats. You can even wear the hats to make it more visible to everybody. And when you are discussing a particular theme or a problem, you talk only from the perspective of that hat. You either criticize if you are wearing a black hat, or you're looking at only the best possibilities and all that. So that is the idea of the 6 hat technique.
It's really the interesting and informative session for all of us. Thank you so much, ma'am. And we think that we use a lot of things by the session for the improvement of our students. Thank you so much for improving all of us.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Anybody else would like to say anything?
Ma'am, thank you so much. It was so good to sit and listen. Didn't even want to distract in any way or the other. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Lynette.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Dr. Savitha. I really thoroughly enjoyed, and it was like yesterday somebody was mentioning that we should have such sessions, yesterday afternoon session. It should be very interesting, and they told us that Dr. Savitha will keep you engaged after lunch. Definitely, it was very, very nice. I really enjoyed it, and thanks a lot for the session. And I think we will take forward all these to our students so that they are engaged thoroughly. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Usha. For our students, for our children, we can use these techniques to improve their creative thinking skills.
Yeah, definitely. Very interesting. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for an excellent, very engaging session. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Kavita, I'm almost done.
Thank you, madam. Very good, interesting session it was.
Thank you, sir. And I'm happy to know that some of you are in the area, like Rao sir was mentioning that he was into design thinking. So it is very nice to know that, many of us are working in this field.
Ma'am, is the feedback session in the link already?
Yeah, already I've shared it. Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Savitha. I think I need not thank you because already our participants have shown how much they've liked your session and learned from you. I know because this is your area, right? You have been into this for, I think, about some 4 or 5 years, and you have been teaching this course. So definitely our participants might have learned a lot from you. And my humble request to all the participants is that go and try it. Don't just learn and forget it. Okay. Thank you all. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Savitha, for accepting our invitation and acting as a resource person for our program. Thank you so much. And
Thanks, Kavita.
participants, yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
I've shared the link, feedback link. Hope all of you have got it.
Ma'am, is the
You have
link
missed it?
shared
Yes,
just now?
ma'am. Submitted.
Yeah, many times I've shared again.
Got
I've
it, ma'am.
shared.
Submitted. Submitted the link.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. Those who have missed, again I've shared it.
Thank you all once again. Kavita, I'm signing off.
Yeah, yeah. Take care.
Right.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You can leave.
So if you have submitted your form, then we can.
Yeah, we have submitted.
All of you
Submitted.
okay.
Yeah.
So tomorrow morning, again, 9:25, join in the same link.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are going to talk about emotional intelligence in the morning session.
Okay.
Okay. So
Yeah.
you see, because
Thank you. Thank
all
you.
these 3 days, we will have a different experience, but tomorrow it is specifically on our emotions.
Okay.
Fine. Okay.
Fine. Fine. Thank you.
Session for tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wish you all happy learning. Maybe I'll be here for some 2-3 minutes. Those who missed out, you can fill in the feedback form, then you can leave. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Actually, we have attended a lot of events, a lot of the.
Ma'am, what time the session starts tomorrow? Sorry, I missed that.
Yeah, tomorrow 9:25. 9:30.
All right, thank you. So tomorrow we'll start with Dr. Anita's session, Understanding Your Emotions.
Emotions, yes.
Okay, done, ma'am. 9:30. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. So again, I shared the link in case any of you missed it. You can fill it.
Feedback is shared, ma'am. Thank you so much. See you tomorrow morning. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Hope all of you have filled. So I'm just ending the meeting. Thank you all. We'll meet tomorrow.